They thought they'd silenced her forever, a woman they believed was too weak, too soft, too unfit for their elite team. But when the ocean swallowed her body below the cliff, it didn't drown her, it rebirthed her. Because what they didn't know was this: Navy SEALs don't die easy, and they never forget who tried to bury them alive. The sound of boots scraping against gravel echoed through the dark cliffs of Kauai's western ridge. The moon cast a dim light over the Pacific as Lieutenant Commander Emma Hayes stood surrounded by the men she once called her brothers. The air was thick with betrayal. "You don't belong here," said Captain Ryan Cole, his voice dripping with disdain. His words cut sharper than the knife at her side. Emma had spent 8 years proving herself as one of the few women in Navy SEALs, a warrior forged in blood, discipline, and silence. But she had also uncovered something she wasn't supposed to: an illegal op run by Cole himself, black market weapons trafficking hidden under military missions. "You think you can expose me?" Ryan hissed, stepping closer. "You'll disappear, Hayes. No one will ever find you." Before she could reach for her sidearm, 2 of his men grabbed her arms. Emma struggled, muscles burning, the smell of saltwater and betrayal filling her lungs. The waves below roared like beasts hungry for her fall. Ryan smirked. "You always loved the sea, didn't you?" And with a cold push, they sent her off the cliff. Her body cut through the wind like a broken bird before slamming into the freezing Pacific below. The impact ripped the air from her chest. Pain exploded through her ribs, but she stayed conscious. Training screamed in her mind, "Don't panic. Breathe. Move." She forced her arms to work, kicking against the crushing weight of the waves. Above, she saw their flashlights fade. They were leaving. They thought she was dead. She let herself sink, deeper and deeper, until darkness embraced her. But when she hit the ocean floor, her instincts came alive. She wasn't dead, not yet. She pushed herself upward, lungs on fire, mind repeating, "SEALs don't die in the dark." She clawed to the surface, gasping for air under the bleeding moon. The cliff loomed above her, tall, jagged, impossible. But nothing was impossible for her. She started to climb. Every movement tore at her muscles, every breath was war. Blood mixed with seawater, her fingers split open, her vision blurred, but she climbed. When her hand finally reached the top hours later, the world had changed. Emma Hayes had fallen once. But now, she had risen, and she wasn't coming back for justice. She was coming for war. By dawn, Emma had vanished into the jungle that bordered the cliffs. Her body was bruised, her uniform shredded, but her spirit burned hotter than the tropical sun. She tore strips of her uniform to bandage her wounds and used vines to make a sling for her injured shoulder. Every move was methodical, survival was muscle memory. She scavenged for water, built a shelter, and waited for nightfall. Her mind replayed every face: Ryan Cole, Jackson, Miller, Ortiz, the men who had sworn brotherhood, the ones who pushed her into the sea. The anger inside her was cold, focused. Over the next days, she moved like a ghost through the wilderness, tracking their supply lines, learning their routes, piecing together their secret base location, a decommissioned Navy communications outpost hidden in the cliffs. It was there they smuggled weapons and erased evidence of their crimes. Emma's mind sharpened into predator mode. She trained again, using the jungle as her gym, climbing, swimming, striking. Her hands became steady, her movements silent. The SEAL in her was no longer part of a team. She was the team. One night, as she sat by a small fire made with driftwood and flint, she stared into the flames and whispered, "You shouldn't have pushed me." On the 5th day, she struck. Disguised in a stolen uniform from a nearby patrol, she infiltrated the outpost perimeter. 2 guards fell silently, one with a knife through the throat, the other by a chokehold. Emma moved like smoke, invisible and precise. Inside the base, she found the hard drives containing their transaction logs, photos, and evidence that linked them to international arms deals. But before she could escape, the alarm screamed. She was spotted. Gunfire erupted. Bullets tore through the metal walls as Emma ducked, rolled, and returned fire. Her mind was pure instinct, every movement calculated. She took down 3 men before smoke grenades filled the hall. She sprinted out, diving through the shattered window into the trees. Behind her, Cole's voice roared through a megaphone, "You should have stayed dead, Hayes." The forest lit up with searchlights and gunfire. But Emma disappeared again, back into the shadows of the Pacific. Cole had no idea he was now the hunted one. Night after night, she dismantled them. One by one, Jackson was the first to go, found unconscious in his jeep with a message carved into the hood, still climbing. Ortiz vanished during a night patrol, his body discovered hanging from a tree, dog tags pinned to his chest with the word, traitor. Panic spread among Cole's men. They began sleeping in shifts, weapons always in hand, jumpy at every sound. But fear wasn't enough to stop her. Emma was using guerrilla tactics, traps, misdirection, psychological warfare. She hacked their communications, sending fake distress calls and false intel that turned them against each other. Cole was unraveling. "She's just one woman," he shouted at his men, veins pulsing in his neck. But deep down, he knew, this wasn't just one woman. This was the Navy SEAL they underestimated. The one they thought couldn't climb. Now she was climbing through their ranks, leaving a trail of fear behind her. By the 10th day, Cole's operation was collapsing. Supplies destroyed, comms jammed, men deserting. He retreated to the Central Command bunker with Miller, his last loyal man. "She wants you," Miller said nervously. "She's coming for you." Cole slammed his fist on the table. "Then let her come." But Emma was already inside. She'd cut the power hours earlier and crawled through the ventilation shafts. When she dropped down behind them, it was silent, only the sound of metal against metal as she loaded her pistol. Miller turned, eyes wide, but Emma's bullet found him first. Cole froze. "Emma," he said slowly, raising his hands. "You don't want to do this." She stepped closer, gun steady, eyes burning with fire. "You're right," she whispered. "I need to do this." She shot him once in the leg, he screamed. "You pushed me off that cliff. You left me to die. But I learned something down there." She leaned closer, her voice low and fierce. "Navy SEALs don't need ropes to climb." Then she left him bleeding, alive but broken, as she walked out into the rising dawn. Behind her, the bunker exploded, flames licking the sky. The sound of the blast was her final salute to the ghost she once trusted. Weeks later, headlines exploded across the nation. Corrupt SEAL operation exposed, whistleblower emerges from the dead. Emma had resurfaced, standing before the Pentagon press in full uniform, her body scarred but her soul unshaken. The evidence she collected brought down one of the largest internal corruption networks in Navy history. Ryan Cole was found half dead but arrested, his crimes broadcast to the world. When asked how she survived, Emma simply said, "I was trained to adapt. To survive, to climb." Her eyes held the ocean's calm, and its fury. But even after justice, Emma couldn't rest. The nightmares of the fall haunted her, the cold water, the betrayal, the silence of brothers she once loved. So she returned to the Pacific cliffs, standing where it all began. The wind whipped her hair, the sea roared below. She stared into the abyss that had almost taken her life and whispered, "Thank you." Because that fall had broken her body, but built her soul. As the sun set, she walked away from the edge, her shadow long against the golden rock. Somewhere in the distance, waves crashed, like applause for the woman who refused to drown. And in that silence, one truth echoed: when they pushed her off the cliff, they didn't end her story. They started her legend. If you believe strength isn't about muscles but about never giving up, share Emma's story. Because somewhere out there, someone's been pushed off their own cliff, and your words might remind them that they, too, can climb back stronger.